ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਦੇ ਮੇਅਰ ਜੌਨ ਟੋਰੀ ਅਤੇ ਮੈਡੀਕਲ ਅਫਸਰ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ ਕਾਨਫਰੰਸ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਕੋਵਿਡ-19 ਪ੍ਰਤੀ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਦੇ ਜਵਾਬ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਅਪਡੇਟ ਪ੍ਰਦਾਨ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ। ਮੇਅਰ ਟੋਰੀ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ 1 ਮਿਲੀਅਨ ਬੂਸਟਰ ਡੋਜ਼ਾਂ ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਦੇ ਨਿਵਾਸੀਆਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਗਈਆਂ ਹਨ ਅਤੇ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਸਿਟੀ ਅੰਦਰ ਵੈਕਸੀਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਮੁਹਿੰਮ ਨੂੰ ਹੋਰ ਤੇਜ਼ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਲਗਾਤਾਰ ਯਤਨ ਕੀਤੇ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ।
We are continuing to make progress helping people to get vaccinated, first dose, second dose, and third dose. We have now delivered more than 1 million third doses to eligible residents of the City of Toronto. And that booster effort is continuing non-stop in the face of the Omicron variant, along with our push to get kids vaccinated and to help education and childcare workers to get vaccinated so that the province and school boards can get back to in-person learning on January the 17th. Back to school is what we all want, and we are doing everything we can at the city to support that and to help make that happen. I visited the city-run Woodbine Mall vaccination clinic together with Dr. Davila and Councillor Cressy on Sunday, where we worked with the school boards to help hundreds of education workers get vaccinated with dedicated appointments. We also helped hundreds of education workers get vaccinated yesterday at the city-run clinic at the Scarborough Town Centre. And these dedicated clinics will continue next Sunday with 2,400 more dedicated appointments along with school-based clinics happening across the city. Team Toronto has scheduled 27 school-based clinics over these 2 weeks to help kids and workers, education workers, to get vaccinated, and that in turn, of course, will help us to get the schools open safely. This is Team Toronto in action, working together to get doses to the people who need them. We know from our experience, however, during the first and second doses, that we have to work hard to make sure that vaccines are available to everyone, everywhere, across our city without exception. And that involves addressing some specific challenges of different kinds faced by some Toronto residents and some Toronto neighbourhoods. That is why we are working now, even while demand remains high everywhere for third doses, to make sure that we can do everything we can to ensure vaccine accessibility in all neighbourhoods. Getting vaccinated should not depend on your postal code or on your economic status. Today, I want to outline the work that Team Toronto is doing right now to rapidly increase third dose uptake in neighbourhoods that are under-vaccinated and have been disproportionately affected by COVID-19 throughout the pandemic.
ਸੂਬੇ ਦੀ ਚੀਫ ਮੈਡੀਕਲ ਅਫਸਰ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਡੀਨਾ ਹਿੰਸ਼ਾ ਨੇ ਸੂਬੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀ ਕੋਵਿਡ-19 ਮਹਾਮਾਰੀ ਲਈ ਸੂਬੇ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰਤੀਕਿਰਿਆ ਬਾਰੇ ਇੱਕ ਅਪਡੇਟ ਪ੍ਰਦਾਨ ਕੀਤੀ। ਡਾਕਟਰ ਹਿੰਸ਼ਾ ਨੇ ਘੋਸ਼ਣਾ ਕੀਤੀ ਕਿ ਸਰਕਾਰ PCR ਟੈਸਟਿੰਗ ਨੂੰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਸਮੂਹਾਂ ਤੱਕ ਸੀਮਿਤ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹਸਪਤਾਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਦਾਖਲ ਹੋਣ ਦੇ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਜੋਖਮ ਹਨ।
Over the last 24 hours, we have identified 5,384 cases of COVID-19 and completed about 13,879 tests. Our positivity rate for lab-confirmed COVID is about 38%. There are currently 635 people being treated for COVID-19 in hospital, including 72 in the ICU. I want to note that starting today, our historical ICU numbers may look a little different for a few dates in the past. As we have been doing continual quality assurance work with our data, it was identified over time some units in some hospitals have shifted back and forth between being available for use as an ICU unit or a non-ICU unit. With our recent increase of Omicron cases, demand for PCR testing has pushed our testing system beyond its capacity. As many Albertans have found, just getting an appointment for a swab takes several days, and the time to get results back is now close to 48 hours after the swab is taken. While we have used widespread PCR testing to manage COVID-19 in previous waves, this approach is just not possible with the Omicron variant. In order to ensure that patient care decisions are supported by timely diagnostic information, PCR testing eligibility will now be focused on those with clinical risk factors for severe outcomes and those who live or work in high-risk settings. Effective immediately, PCR tests will be available for only those in specific categories. The full list can be found on our website, but some examples include continuing care residents, healthcare workers and staff in acute and continuing care settings, shelters and correctional facilities, symptomatic household members of a person who works in continuing or acute care, individuals with any degree of symptoms who have risk factors that would make them qualify for monoclonal antibody treatment if positive for COVID-19. This list is available on the website and includes those with significant immunocompromising conditions.
ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਆਗੂਆਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਹਿੱਲ ਉੱਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ ਕਾਨਫਰੰਸ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੀ ਪਬਲਿਕ ਹੈਲਥ ਏਜੰਸੀ ਦੀ ਯਾਤਰਾ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਝਣ ਲਈ ਲੱਖਾਂ ਮੋਬਾਈਲ ਡਿਵਾਈਸਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਡਾਟਾ ਇਕੱਠਾ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਫੈਸਲੇ ਤੇ ਚਰਚਾ ਕੀਤੀ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਇਸ ਮਾਮਲੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਂਚ ਦੀ ਮੰਗ ਕੀਤੀ।
The Public Health Agency of Canada confirmed media reports just before Christmas that it had secretly accessed location data for 33 million mobile devices to monitor the movement of Canadians during COVID-19. That number represents roughly 87% of the population who were spied on without any knowledge that the government was accessing their data. Public Health Agency of Canada officials were forced to admit this had occurred after a request for proposal was published with a call for interest in continuing a program of collecting data for up to 5 more years. There are a few points I want to make on this. First, no one knew that PHAC was collecting their data and for what purpose. So, why was it done in secret? Who authorized it? And who was this shared with? Second, the request for proposal to continue this program appeared on December 17th, 2021, the day after Parliament adjourned for the holidays, and is set to expire January 21st, 2022, 10 days before Parliament is set to return, conveniently leaving no time during this period for questions to be asked by parliamentarians before it is too late. Third, what measures are being put in place to protect de-identified information from being re-identified? It should not be lost on anyone that PHAC's request for proposal is being undertaken without any indication that this was about to occur, with no ability for parliamentary scrutiny to determine what this information has been used for, what outcomes the agency and by extension the government is hoping to achieve to mitigate the damage being done by COVID in our communities, and what protections are in place to ensure that the privacy of Canadians has been and will be protected under this program. As David Lyon, author of Pandemic Surveillance and former director of Surveillance Studies Center at Queen's University, noted, as have privacy experts and advocates, the pandemic has created opportunities for massive surveillance surge on many levels, not only for public health, but also for monitoring those working, shopping, and learning from home. Lyon also stated that there's evidence coming in from many sources from countries around the world that what was seen as a huge surveillance surge post 9/11 is now completely upstaged by pandemic surveillance. Last week, I wrote the Canada's Privacy Commission to investigate the reports that have surfaced and the request for proposal. I asked that an investigation be launched into the fact that PHAC tracked and collected mobile data of Canadians without their knowledge and their plans to continue this practice for up to the next 5 years. It's uncertain to me and many others whether the Privacy Commission was even aware that this was occurring, because in a report in the National Post, the Office of the Privacy Commissioner said, and I quote, "It is following up with PHAC to obtain more information about the proposed initiative." This gives us every indication that the OPC was not even aware of what PHAC and the government were doing and what they plan to do. This causes us great concern, as it should every Canadian.
ਕਈਆਂ ਦਾ ਮੰਨਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜ਼ੋਖਮ ਵਾਲੇ ਖੇਤਰਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿੰਦੀਆਂ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਦੇ ਜੀਵਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਵੈ ਦੇਖਭਾਲ ਦੀ ਕਮੀ ਸਿਹਤ ਦਾ ਗੰਭੀਰ ਮੁੱਦਾ ਹੈ, ਜਿਸ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਸ਼ੀਨਫੋਸ਼ੀ ਨਾਮ ਦੀ ਸੰਸਥਾ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਘੱਟ ਆਮਦਨੀ ਵਾਲੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਏਡ ਕਿਟਸ ਵੰਡੀਆਂ ਜਾ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਹਨ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਕਰੀਬ 5000 ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਏਡ ਕਿਟਸ ਨੂੰ ਮਹਿਲਾਵਾਂ ਤੱਕ ਪਹੁੰਚਾਉਣ ਦਾ ਟੀਚਾ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ, ਜਿਸ ਨੂੰ ਪੂਰਾ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਉਹ ਭਾਈਚਾਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਮਦਦ ਦੀ ਮੰਗ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ।
सेल्फ केयर एक ऐसी चीज़ है जो जब हम सोचते हैं उसके बारे में वो ऑलवेज़ सेकंड बन जाती है। हम सोचते नहीं हैं कि वो किसी वुमेन के लिए इम्पोर्टेंट है कि वो अपने आप को फ़र्स्ट रखे और अपने आप के लिए केयर करे। हम सोचते हैं कि फ़र्स्ट उसे फूड एंड शेल्टर चाहिए, उसे एक जॉब चाहिए, उसे अपनी फैमिली की केयर करनी है, लेकिन हम ये नहीं सोचते कि वो अपने आप की आइडेंटिटी कैसे बनाएगी, अपना हेल्थी सेल्फ इमेज कैसे बनाएगी। those things come first when you want to solve women's issues. अगर आप चाहते हैं कि women successful हो, वो पहले अपने आप की केयर करेगी, फिर आगे जाएगी. मैंने पहले दिसंबर में किया था, उस वक्त हमने almost 400 families और shelters को अपने kits दिए थे. आज हम चाहते हैं कि हम hundreds more दें, and we have shelters जो outside खड़े हुए हैं, जो first half of the event अपने hundreds of kits लेके जाएंगे. और second half of the event हमारे families और women आएंगी, and in total हम चाहते हैं कि हम close to 1,000 दे दें आज, और ये हमारा goal है just for the second event. Specifically with personal hygiene and grooming, वो not only अपनी community की, but अपने पूरे network की help कर सकती है best way में.